What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this week's edition of the 48 Minutes Basketball Network podcast. I am Tim Daniel here with Sean Backey. We are without Ben Brown and Josh Hayes this week, but never fear, we are here. Sean, we are now just 7 days from recording away from the NBA season mattering. Games actually are real and legit. Count on your record.
Yeah,
But preseason games so far have been kind of fun. I think more is just I really got to the point where I actually missed NBA basketball
yeah.
after having it nonstop for 38 months and then going back to like not having a normal off season for the first time in forever. I was like, oh man, I'm kind of missed this. So I've had a lot of fun watching some games. Seen a lot of good and a lot of bad as you do in preseason basketball. But what's kind of been some of the stuff that's jumped out to you about, stuff you've seen, stuff you've liked from this kind of from the preseason run of players? Any performances that have jumped out to you that we haven't just advertised on 48 Minutes social medias?
Uh, well, the Lakers won last night. That was something, right?
Yeah, I thought last week the LeBron and AD both had performances where it was like, oh, this is why it's like you don't really give up on them.
Yeah, yeah. They're, you know, two great. LeBron is one of the greatest players of all time, and AD is apparently one of the greatest 75 players of all time, according to some lists. So, um, but Dwight Howard is not.
Nope.
Yeah, it was good seeing them be able to go out there and kind of take care of some business. I'll be completely honest with you, Tim. Preseason basketball has gotten to the point, to me, it's almost like preseason football, except there's better athletes out there actually playing. It doesn't count for anything in my mind. It gives people false hope. It is. It can be anything, And I'll be honest with you. I never try to read anything into preseason at all. It's. I don't I don't really think that it's a great indicator at all for anything for the NBA season, and it's so long. It's so long, and there's so many things that can happen. And it's like we already got LaMelo Ball out for an extended period of time now. It's it's not something that I like to just hang my hat on. I've been very, very choosy about watching games. I've watched a couple of Bulls games. I've watched a lot of highlights, but I'm just not invested in what the teams are doing right now. It's not that time yet. Next week though, it's go time. Things count for something, and then I'm actually going to care more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I kind of play the devil's advocate on that. I think it does matter. I mean, obviously, no, wins and losses don't, but like, what does your team look like in a half court offense? What's the defense look like? Are you guys stepping up and helping each other out? Are you communicating? I think a lot of that, laying the foundation. Like, if you watch that Brooklyn game last Friday against Miami, where, all those guys played except for Kyrie, and they lost by 30, and Ben
Yeah.
Simmons looked like utterly lost on the court. Um,
That's what
you
happens when
know,
you don't play for 2 years.
yeah, and I don't think Miami really played much of like their guys. I think well, yeah, Butler played and Bam played, and I thought they just looked like
That
way
that
better.
that matters. That matters. Well, and the Miami Heat are an elite team. Like they are
Yeah,
an elite team. They're top 3, top 4 right now in my mind. So, and Brooklyn, they don't know what they are. They don't know what they're going to be. Ben Simmons hasn't played for forever.
frauds.
Frauds. Yes, frauds. So they've had a lot of drama this offseason, obviously. So coming off of that, I'm at a point though where like I know we're gonna talk. There's teams that we cannot avoid talking about. The
Right.
Lakers
Yeah,
are one of them.
it's
The
just is
Brooklyn
what it
Nets are
is.
talking, and we're gonna spend a lot of time talking about them this year. It's just gonna happen just because of how many great players they have on their team. And I don't know, man. I'm not gonna look too much into a blowout in the preseason with Brooklyn, but I'm also gonna totally look way too much into a loss like that because, what are we looking at here? What is this team made of? What are they going to go out and do this year? And I think they will sort of figure it out, and then they'll fail. If that makes sense. Like that's just my gut feeling for this team. I don't know. I think their window was 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, I think their window's close too. I don't really have much faith in them as an organization. And I just kind of feel like the way things go with how things already went that we already discussed in length, um, I would not be putting money on the Nets. I will say that
No.
much.
No.
But yeah, there's that. I thought I want to talk real quick about Atlanta. They played Abu Dhabi against Milwaukee, and both DeJounte Murray and Trae Young each had games of like, oh shit. So
they're gonna be a problem.
That's gonna work. Yeah, that's gonna be successful.
That is. That might have been. I think that for a lot of casual fans that move getting DeJounte Murray down there was probably kind of flew under the radar a little bit. But for any hoops buff out there, I think this is going to open up that team so much more, and I think they're going to have a lot of fun down in Atlanta this year. And I'm honestly I'm happy for them because it's like they're just they've made weird moves. I mean, trading Luka Doncic for him. I know that's the weirdest move that's kind of put this whole team into swing and set this process up. But it's they're a unique organization. They've got some fun players, and I just fuck it. Let's go out and have some fun in Atlanta this year.
Yeah, they're gonna be fun. They're gonna be good. That's gonna be a joy to watch. Yeah, I think the last thing I kind of wanted to touch on was I guess Jordan Poole didn't have any issues with getting punched in the face because he's been tremendous the last few days.
God.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, Poole's gonna be great. Do you foresee anything happening in the season where like Klay Thompson ends up getting benched for him?
No.
Okay.
I think if anyone did, no. I'm just trying to think of because you can play Wiggins at the 4. There's a lot of different flexibility options they have. So I think where he's at is going to be just fine. I'm like having really, I see Steph, Clay, Draymond,
Wiggins,
or Looney. Like, who the hell's going to be the other starter? Why am I? Anyway. Yeah. That's a conversation for another time. We'll figure it out by next week, I'm sure. So we're going to go through, we're going to kind of discuss some of the betting odds off of DraftKings on some of the NBA awards and kind of give our thoughts on who we see winning them. I've already been pretty vocal about who I have winning MVP. So it's not like this is going to come much of a shock if you've listened to the last few episodes. But we're going to go through a few of them and just kind of give our thoughts and go through there. And Sean, I really wanted to actually start in the polar opposite direction. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you did.
Where I made the thing.
There we go.
So
there we go.
Yeah. And you and I were talking about this a little bit off air, but just this is always a weird award.
Weird.
So most improved player. And the odds that we have here, Anthony Edwards at plus 1,000, which he's a top 25 NBA player according to NBA Rank ESPN. So why is he on this list? Tyrese Halliburton at plus 1,200. Jalen Brunson and Zion Williamson at 1,600. Cade Cunningham, a second-year player. He's supposed to improve. RJ Barrett, Anthony Simons at 2,000. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's an all-star. Tyrese Maxey, LaMelo Ball at 2,500. Jordan Poole at 2,800. DeAndre Jordan, Jalen Green, another second-year player. Keldon Johnson, Colin Sexton. And last year's Rookie of the Year, Scotty Barnes at plus 3,000. So I don't understand what the point of this award is anymore. If it's like second year guys are like high favorites to win it, or a guy who was just voted to be one of the top 25 players in the NBA is on this list. So those guys to me should be discounted. I think Anthony Edwards is going to be an all-star this year. The Wolves are going to be really good, as we expect. But I look at a guy like Jalen Brunson, who's going to a situation from Dallas to New York where he's the lead guard and he's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. That's kind of going to be beneficial. I don't know if Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will get it because he's already been an all-star and, that team's obviously not very good. And then Keldon Johnson's getting a lot of credit. Kelton Johnson and Colin Sexton are playing on two teams that might be the two worst teams in the NBA.
Yeah.
Shea playing on the other one. LaMelo Ball's hurt already. Anthony
Yep.
Simons, I have no clue what to expect from Portland. I can see them going either direction. So I've got mine down to Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Halliburton. And I went
Okay.
with Brunson strictly because I just made mention of all those teams being bad. And Tyrese Halliburton's going to be on the Pacers, who might be the Eastern Conference worst team this year. So I feel like Brunson might be a good pick at that plus 1,600. And I think with the fact that he's becoming the lead ball handler in New York, RJ Barrett's continuing to grow, Mitchell Robinson's there. I felt like Brunson was probably my best pick there just because of how much more volume he's going to get.
I like your pick. It makes a lot of sense. However, I don't know what it is, man. I can't hop on the Knicks train for anything. I mean, Julius Randle won a couple years back, rightfully so, and then he dipped below. I'm gonna go for the most obvious choice here. I'm gonna go with Mr. Peel. I think he's gonna get a lot of run this year. I think he is going to. I mean, there's going to be games that Steph doesn't play. There's going to be games that Clay don't play this year. And I think he's going to have to be that guy who's going to go out and be the scorer. And he is that scorer. And he has mimicked everything he's seen on his team and to get better, and kind of came out of nowhere last year. And here we are, another year in, and I don't know. I just feel like there's going to be a lot more eyes also in Golden State than the Knicks. I mean, how many Knicks games? I mean, how many, this is voted by the media, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, how many people are going to be watching this? How many people are going to be invested? I think that matters. And the year that Julius Randle won, the eyes were really back on the Knicks. I just don't see the eyes being back on the Knicks this year. He's not I don't know. It's just they're in a weird crossroads, and they ended up getting a player that everybody knew they were going to get this year. So yeah, I'm going with Jordan Peele.
Jordan Poole.
Poole. Why did I say Peele? I don't know why I said Peele.
Did you just watch Get Out again?
No, I think I was thinking Anthony Peeler, and that came into my mind, and that's a name I haven't thought of in a while.
Yeah, he'll have a card in my team next week. Now you said something, so
he 100% will. I've put it in the air.
Yeah.
What up?
All right. So Defensive Player of the Year, I felt like this was like a much tougher one to decide. Rudy Gobert's the favorite at plus 425. Bam Adebayo at plus 650. Robert Williams, the Time Lord, at plus 1,000. Even with his injury, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Draymond and Giannis both have won in the past, plus 1,100. Mikal Bridges at plus 1,500. Evan Mobley at 1,700. Marcus Smart and Joel Embiid at 1,800. Anthony Davis and Ben Simmons at 2,000, knowing they're going to be on bad defensive teams. Jaren Jackson Jr. at 2,200 and Jared Allen at 3,000. So two Cavs in the top half of the odds.
Yeah.
I want to say Evan Mobley because we know how much I love him. I think he's tremendous, and this is a big man's award, except for Marcus Smart did win it last year, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like seeing wing guys win it. I just don't know if that trend will continue. So I'm going to go with who you picked last year, and I'm taking Bam Adebayo. You said it earlier. The Miami Heat are an elite team. They are a defensive first team, which makes all the difference in the world when it comes to awards like this. And he's the anchor of their defense. Obviously, Butler's a terrific man-to-man defender as well. But Bam, to me, makes the most sense because of all those teams, I feel like Miami is the most sure thing. What I mean by that is Rudy Gobert and Minnesota look on paper like they're going to be awesome, but anything can happen, especially with that organization. Time Lord, we have no idea how much he's going to play, when he's back, if he'll be in full swing immediately. Evan Mobley, I feel like it's just a little too young. I think he will win one of these in his career, maybe multiples. And Jaren Jackson's hurt. Anthony Davis and Ben Simmons, like I said, their teams are going to be bad defensively.
Ben Simmons being on here to me is just like
hilarious.
It's hilarious. Like, why is he even on this list? He hasn't played in 2 years. Like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm out.
So yeah, give me Bam Adebayo. I think Bam Adebayo wins it this year.
You're going for Bam. All right. Well, I'm gonna backtrack, and I'm actually gonna go with the other guy, the guy who does the dirty work in Cleveland. I'm going with Jared Allen. I
I like
think,
it.
yeah, I think it makes the most sense for a guy like him. He is the Kurt Rambis of this team, who is going to be able to let the other guys do their offense. He prides himself on his defense, and that's what he does best. I think for me, looking at all of these guys on the list, I would say Bam's probably my second. Not even gonna beat around the bush about that. I think you going with that makes sense. But so many head scratchers on this list, and I don't think Rudy Gobert is gonna win another one. I just think his run's over with. And he's on a different team now, different system. I don't know, but maybe you know what? If he wins another one, what kind of conversations do we have about his career if he wins one in Minnesota?
Similar to the ones we're having about Dwight Howard's Defensive Player of the Year awards.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I would say. So I will say this. I feel like anytime Rudy Gobert's made how many All-Star teams?
A handful, I think.
Yeah. And doesn't he
Hold
always
on.
get like picked last?
Yeah, LeBron literally made fun of it that one year with him and Durant, where the last two guys were Mitchell and Gobert, and he's like, "We were kids. We never played with the Jazz. Like when you played video games, no one ever picked the Jazz." So he's like, "This is just a kind of a continuation of that." He's a 3-time All-Star, by the way.
3 time. I mean, that's pretty impressive. So, yeah, I think if he wins another one, we're gonna have to start kind of reevaluating the way we think about him. He's a great defender. I'm not gonna lie. So he's also one of my favorite players in NBA 2K. He'll lock up your paint for you.
Yeah, that he will. Yeah, it's a fun award. I mean, there's a lot of fun options. I think Embiid could totally have like the Giannis
Oh
year
yeah,
where he wins both of them. And because I think I really, really like Philly. I really like their team. It's just,
yeah,
can you count on
absolutely.
James Harden in Game 7 is really what matters. Because I'll never talk about regular season James Harden ever again. I refuse. I don't
Yeah,
care if he has a 75-point game. Like,
yeah,
all right, cool. Like, congratulations. You did it on a Tuesday night in Orlando. Like,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, by the way, so I was watching the Magic game tonight,
Okay.
a little bit before we got on air. And have you ever like watched one of their broadcasts, the Magic themselves?
Oh yeah, a couple times.
So Jeff Turner is their color commentator,
Yeah,
former
love
Orlando
love
Magic.
Jeff. Love Jeff.
Yeah, and then their play-by-play commentator. I literally was like, "Why is Mike Breen calling their game?" Because the
It is
guy's
interesting.
voice, it wasn't Mike Breen.
It's not Bright Brain. Who was it?
Whoever their regular play-by-play guy is. But I was like listening to the game. They didn't show his face just yet because it was one of the ones where it's on NBA TV and the pregame cuts right to tip-off. And
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, so Mike Breen's doing the Magic game. That's kind of weird because he either does National or the Knicks.
yeah.
And they show the guy like on the side with Jeff, and I'm like, really weird that Mike Breen is there. Looked dead on him, sounded just like him. It's not Mike Breen.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was like,
Just not. But it wasn't like a famous former player or anything that.
no.
Okay. Okay. I thought you were kind of leading up to. I can't believe that it was so and so. That's where I thought we were going with that. I'm sorry.
No, Jeff Turner being the color commentator for the Magic is the most like on the nose, like, yeah.
Yeah. That's what he would do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like Bill Cartwright. I mean, it's like Bill Wennington doing Bulls games. You're like, yeah, makes sense.
I used to back in the old like NBA Live days when I was a kid growing up. Like I would always like trade him for Michael Jordan. You know. So I could put Jordan on the Magic. So I used to do that all the time. But he was always the guy who had to get traded.
Yeah, I think everyone understands that.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it now though too with Eris mode in 2K. So
I guess I could.
yeah, gotta bring it back. Yeah. All right, we're gonna get to the fun awards now. Sixth Man of the Year, which your pick for Most Improved, Jordan Poole, is the very odds-on favorite. Very odds-on favorite at plus 400. Tyler Hero at 800. Christian Wood at 1,000. Malcolm Brogdon at plus 1,200. Bones at plus 1,400. Kevin Love, Cam Johnson, Anthony Simons, and Jordan Clarkson at plus 25. Spencer Dinwiddie at plus 28. Norman Powell, Karis LeVert, and Bogdan Bogdanovic at plus 3,000. So Tyler Hero won it last year. We know that Jordan Poole has a ton of props and love right now after the finals and being part of, being the younger Splash brother now. Christian Wood's obviously going to get a lot of credit playing with Luka. I went long shot. I'm going to go in Karis LeVert.
Okay.
I feel like on this Cleveland team, they're going to be pretty good. As we've talked about for a while, we're pretty high on them. And his scoring ability off the bench is going to help that team so much. And I suspect it seems more and more like Isaac Okoro is going to be their starting three. So the plus 3,000 for Karis LeVert, I like that. I think those are decent odds. I'm going to go take a long shot on Karis just because I think Poole and Hero are way too easy of selections.
Okay. What if I told you I was going to go with an outside the box guy?
Oh boy, where are we going
Would you welcome it?
Is it Dennis Schroeder?
It is not.
Okay,
no,
then I welcome it.
I'm going with Malik Monk.
In Sacramento, okay.
In Sacramento. I am going with him. I feel like he is one of the more low-key great pickups of the season, where I think we're all kind of like casually excited to see what that team can do this year because we don't really know. I mean, it could just end up like every other Sacramento Kings season. It could.
Very possible.
Could go both ways. But for some reason, I feel like the optimism is there. And Malik Monk coming off the bench there, being able to provide some shots. I don't know, man. I'm taking a flyer out on him.
We're both going long distance on our 6-man picks.
Yeah.
Which means it'll probably be like Christian Wood.
It'll probably be Christian Wood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which would make sense, actually. So.
Yeah, I guess like I didn't recognize because all these like a lot of the names on there, I was like, won't these guys be starters?
I would think that Christian Wood would be a starter.
Malcolm Brogdon, would think like he would start over Derek White.
Yeah. Well, the reason why Malcolm Brogdon will be in the 6th man of the year conversation is he's going to be hurt every other game. So
true.
But that's just me being mean and disrespectful.
Hey, I like it. All right, rookie of the year.
All right.
So it's not Chet Holmgren. All right, we can go and cross him off the list. Yeah. All right, so Paolo Banchero is a very, very odds-on favorite at plus 200. Keegan Murray at plus 450 from the Kings, we just talked about. Jabari Smith for the Rockets at plus 550. Jaden Ivey plus 750, who had a highlight reel play tonight in preseason. Ben Mathurin of the Pacers at plus 1,200. Shaedon Sharpe at plus 18. Dyson Daniels at plus 2,000. Johnny Davis and Ousmane Dieng at plus 2,500. Then Jalen Williams, Jalen Duren, and Ochai Agbaji at plus 3,000. So this is a fun list. There's a lot.
It is.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to pick Paolo just because the fact that the eyes are going to be on him the most and Orlando's going to likely run their offense through him. I do question his athleticism at times and sometimes his decision-making. He's very easily a guy that teams are going to push to the left if, they don't want him to use his right hand as much. And Keegan Murray is another great option, but he's already the number 1 pick. He's a Duke guy, so that obviously gives him a leg up with the national media. And, he's going to be the guy Orlando relies on for everything because everyone gets hurt there. So as long as he stays healthy, he should really have a good chance to get a ton of action in that offense in the half court. So I'm taking Paolo, but my distant favorite, you've heard me talk about the Wizards quite a bit this year already. Johnny Davis. I feel like him and Bradley Beal in that backcourt, they're going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna throw it out here. I'm gonna go with Jaden Ivey. I think from what I've seen from him in the preseason so far, he looks really good. He's aggressive. I think he's going to fit down there very well. I mean, it's definitely – when Cade come into the league last year, I know people were trying to peg him as a straight, 1, and it looks like he's kind of getting bumped to a 2 right now in this sort of role, But Ivy is aggressive. He's putting up, he's been putting up some good points in the preseason. And it's the preseason. I know I'm breaking all my own rules that I spouted out earlier tonight, but there was one game a couple of days back where they played the Pelicans. They ended up losing. He had 14 points. He had 6 assists, 3 rebounds. I mean, 1 steal. He's productive, and he's going to get a lot of burn. Not as much burn as some of these guys that are going to be completely relied on, like Palo, or you know, even looking down this list. Hold on a second. Shaden Sharp, who knows? We don't know what we're getting from him. But I also, if I was going to pick a second one, I would actually go with Jabari Smith. I think he's going to be just a lot of fun down in Houston. So,
Big
but
fan
that's
of
what I
his.
would go to. Yeah, he's going to be really, really good. So, like we said, or I think you said last week, what a consolation prize, in the NBA draft. But that would be. I'm gonna go with Ivy. I don't know. There's something about him.
Yeah, I love him. I love him. I actually totally forgot about this. So back when I used to do Notre Dame sports and I used to cover them, I actually interviewed his mom like 10 or 12
Oh
years
yeah,
ago. Yeah.
yeah.
Nielle.
I think you mentioned that to me a while back. That's kind of a fun detail.
Yeah, she was cool. I actually really enjoyed talking with her. She was pretty neat.
Okay.
She was really nice. All right. That brings us to the big daddy of them all. We didn't do Coach of the Year this year because it's dumb.
Whoa, we just didn't do it.
Did your team win the most games? Cool, you're Coach of the Year. All right, that's that. So
That's it. That's right. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So NBA Most Valuable Player odds.
Ooh, yeah.
So once again, Luka is the betting favorite for I think the 3rd year in a row at a plus 425. 2-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo is at a plus 600. Joel Embiid at a plus 650. Kevin Durant at a plus 800. Nikola Jokic at a plus 900 as he just won back-to-back MVP. So don't count on him winning a third because even if he has the best season, it's not going to happen. Jason Tatum and Steph Curry at plus 1200. Man, they really got over that Jason Tatum finals very fast, didn't they?
Yes.
John Morant at a plus 1500. Yeah, John Morant at a plus 1500. LeBron James at a plus 1800. You can cross that off the list too. And Devin Booker and Kawhi Leonard at a plus 3000. So I'll go and say mine because I've been talking about it already all offseason. I have not kept it a secret. I think Joel Embiid wins the MVP this year. I think that the Sixers are so built exactly for what he needs to be successful. And obviously they're going to run their team through him. Those high pick and rolls with James Harden and Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid are what's going to help the Sixers win. We already know how good he is as a defender. We know how good of he is as a rim protector. He still has a good shot. He's a really good scorer. He can score from everywhere. Obviously, I know the big question is going to be, can he stay healthy? And relatively, the last few years, he has been on the floor. I mean, really, he has not, he's had COVID last year, but and I think at the end of the year, he might've had something, but never really oh no, there's his meniscus or this and that. And he hasn't had one of those in a long time. It's no, I can play on the floor. I have been babied at times in the past, but when I'm out there, it's very rare that someone on the floor is better than me. So I think James Harden recognizes it, and I think James Harden is going to give him the MVP, much like Chris Paul gave James Harden his. Yeah, still holding on to that. Haven't dropped it yet. And I like the Sixers team. I think the Sixers team very well should be the Eastern favorites. I know a lot of people picked Milwaukee and Boston and Brooklyn, which let's just comment down on Brooklyn. But I myself have been on here and said I feel like Milwaukee should win it, but I look more and more into it. And the more I think about the Sixers team, the more I'm like, man, if Doc Rivers wasn't their coach, they'd probably be going to be a pencil in for the for the NBA Finals. But Doc Rivers is their coach. But with that being said, I'm sticking to that plus 650 on Joel Embiid. I feel like it's a great pick, and I feel like he's the guy this year.
Well, not to be copy McCopperson, but I'm also going to pick Joel Embiid. I feel like last year he improved on an already incredible season the year before. Like you said, I feel like this team really is built. They're due this year. I don't say that often about a team, but they're due. And I feel like the just general disrespect to Joel Embiid over the last couple of seasons. I think he even said last year, he's like, I don't know what else I have to do to win this award.
Yeah.
And not to say that Jokic did not deserve the award. Jokic has been phenomenal. Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
for sure.
he's in a league of his own too. So, but I think this team is going to have. I feel like they're going to have they're going to gel this year. They're going to have Harden in a full season. I
PJ
think
Tucker.
PJ Tucker, who is the ultimate definition of a glue guy on this team and a guy who's won it. Um, they're going to have a good team this year. Just no doubt about it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think that he has improved slightly over the. He's already so amazing at everything he does, but he's added more and more to his game. Last year, he had the best year of his career. I mean, looking at his hold on just a second here. I was just looking at his stats a second ago. I mean, it is absolutely incredible what he has been able to do year after year. So last year he averaged 30 points a game,
He won the
11
scoring title.
won the scoring title as a center. He shot 37% from three, which, for a center, who occasionally shoots threes, not bad. 11.7 rebounds, so almost 12 rebounds a game, 4 assists, over 1 steal, and 1 block a game. That's insane.
Yeah.
Like, those are insane. And you look at everything he did, he progressed a little bit in every stat category last year. The year before, he averaged 2.8 assists. Then it was 4.2 last year. He averaged 28 points. He got it up to 30. The only thing that dipped a little bit was his 3-point percentage because he was shooting more. So yeah, I'm totally with you on this one, Tim. I think that he does come out this year because I feel like the voters, if he puts up the same performance that he put up this season, I feel like they're going to have to give it to him at this point. They're going to have to.
I agree. I just feel like this is his year.
He's due. The team is due to have a great year. I agree with you. They're not talking about them enough in terms of them being an Eastern Conference favorite. I think they're there. But
yeah, I
man,
did too.
it would have been fun to have seen Ben Simmons actually, be there during all of this. Things happen.
Yeah, they traded one guy who melts down in Game 7 for another guy who melts down in Game 7. So hopefully they can get past that mental hump this year.
Yeah. I mean, if they wanted to do that, they could. If they just wanted to not go anywhere, they could just bring Tracy McGrady out of retirement and just throw him on the team and just say, "Oh, we're not going to win."
Yeah, bring in Alex Rodriguez, Aaron Rodgers, people who just
the,
can't advance.
The whole crew. The whole crew.
Yeah, exactly. Some of my longer odds, I really am questioning. I feel like Tatum and Curry are just too easy. I don't think LeBron will ever be, obviously, especially at this age. We're probably at the point where LeBron's probably the 9th best player in the NBA now, and that's kind of wild to think about.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, Kawhi Leonard, he's going to play, 37 games probably, and not tell anybody why he's not playing. So can't really give it to him. Jaw's interesting.
Yeah, Ja is, but you guys, I remember you and Ben talking about this a couple weeks ago. I agree on this. He's got to stay healthy. There's nothing that's told me otherwise, and he's going to throw his body out there and do whatever he needs to do to take over the show. And he's so fun and so dynamic, but it hurts him in the end. I think it's difficult for a player like him to win that award if they're sitting out 15 or 20 games or something.
Yeah, looking at Basketball Reference, their 2023 projection for Ja Morant is 27 points, 8 assists, and 6 rebounds a game. That's definitely MVP worthy.
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
Just, like you said, like last year in 82 games, possibly played 57. The year before in 72, he did play 63. And the year before that, in the 73 possibly, he played 67. So he's always just dinged up. It's never like he stays off the court a long time. But yeah, he's gonna have to play a lot now, especially with how long they don't know how long Jaren Jackson Jr. is gonna be out. So
that's
there's
a big question mark.
There's a lot riding on Ja Morant this year. So
too much.
Yeah, I agree. Here's one. I didn't put this on the rundown, but kind of curious because we all feel like, health wise, of course, this is the year LeBron James becomes the league's all-time leading scorer, which is already all-time total points scored between playoff and regular season.
Yeah.
But this would be kind of like the solidifying it.
How many more points does he need?
I think 1,600.
Okay.
So not a terrible amount.
No.
Let me look real quick, actually, while you're talking. I'll give you an answer. When does it happen this year? Because it's going to happen. I feel like if LeBron James plays 66 games, there's no way in hell this does not happen this year. So he's a guy who's averaged 25 and up, I think since his rookie year. His rookie year may have been the last year he didn't do it. So we're talking about 18 years of just 25 and up. I don't have it in front of me to guarantee. But I feel like this is something come February, like around the All-Star break. We're having this conversation of, is this the week?
Yeah, it'll be, it's going to be, I would say that it's probably going to be late February, early March. So
Okay.
yeah, All-Star time. Yeah, that's when it's going to happen.
So let's see. Kareem all-time had 38,387 points.
Yeah.
LeBron James has 37,062 points going into this year. So 38,387. I can normally do mental math. That's way too mental mathy for me.
Yeah. I think this is wild us talking about this. LeBron
1325 actually. So 1325 is much
Okay.
closer than I had projected.
Okay. That's how much. Okay.
Can I change it to end of January?
Yeah, so he would so he needs how many? 1,300?
1325.
Okay. So if he had, what's he typically average? 27, 28 a game?
Yep. He's
Okay,
he's
so-
Mr. 27, 7, and 7, remember?
So let's say here. Let's go. He's gonna probably, if he has 28 points a game, averages that, we're looking at 49 games, really. If he averages 28 over those 49 games, and he's gonna have games where he's gonna have 35. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, he's gonna have games where he takes off too.
Yeah, or there's going to be games where he has a little bit less. So, but 49 games into the future, I think, I think that's where we're looking at. I really think it's probably the March, April. So March, I'm going to say it could be February, March. I don't know.
Kind of wild to think about. We never thought that record would be touched when we were kids.
Oh, no.
Right?
No. I mean, it's been there for 30 plus years. I mean, it's a long ass time, But that's one that I didn't see breaking, but also the one that, like, the one sports record that, like, I just don't ever see being broken ever again is Ricky Henderson's stolen base record. Like, I feel like that's completely untouchable.
Evolution of athletes, very possible. For me, I think it's sticking in the same sport. Joe DiMaggio, 56 games in a row with a hit.
Well, yeah, but Ricky, here's the other thing. Ricky played he played in 4 decades. He played in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and 2000s. The longevity of an athlete, to see them do that. And on top of that, he broke the record in his 12th season?
Yeah, and played
another 20 years, So not another 20, but at least another 10. So it's stuff like that is interesting to think about. But the scoring title in the NBA, the fact that Kareem did all that, though, without having to shoot threes, I mean, he was a foot taller than everybody, so he had that going for him. And he had literally the most, deadly move in basketball. No one could guard it. So he had that going for him. So it was kind of unfair, but LeBron's had to get in there and be grittier than shit too. It's not like, he hasn't grinded for points. So I'm not going to say, because of the 3-point shot, whatever. Like, it's well earned. And he's played in arguably one of the hardest eras ever, and I know, when we talk about, legacy Jordan and stuff that we don't like to talk about, people talking about, oh, how hard the 90s was and everything. It's like, have you seen the NBA lately? Have you seen the players that are playing right now? I mean, the athletes that are out there are incredible. It's like people, and this is the same situation with wrestling. You got the old timers, the old guard going, oh man, attitude. And don't get me wrong, I had a lot of fun with the Attitude Era stuff, the Monday Night Wars, all that. But you can't deny that the wrestling that's going on currently right now is not the best wrestling we've ever had, right?
Athletically, storyline, yeah.
Everything's better. So it's like, I don't know, we're always going to be fighting against the old guard. It was better than back when we were a kid, and that's fine and everything, but LeBron has had to go through so much shit to be able to score that many points. I mean, just grinded in Cleveland. Who would grind in Cleveland? Who?
Donovan Mitchell's about to.
He's about to. Yeah. He has no choice.
Actually, they're probably better than any team LeBron had in his first Cleveland run. So.
Oh yeah. No, yeah. So
this is kind of a fun dynamic for me because obviously, LeBron's one of my 3 favorite players of all time, and Kareem's my favorite player I never saw play. Just like it live in person, I should say, because I'm a nerd. I watch plenty of NBA classics and things like that. Yeah. So like Kareem's my favorite player who I didn't see in my lifetime. And so now seeing LeBron pass him is going to be kind of fun. Hey, random. Did you see that HBO released Winning Time on DVD?
DVD?
Yeah, I saw it at Walmart the other day.
DVD?
Yeah.
It's not. Is it available in any other format?
I assume so, but I saw it in DVD at Walmart.
Hold on.
But also, I was like, why is the HBO streaming show being released? I guess I did just get rid of HBO Max, so maybe I'm the target audience for that. But
yeah, I mean, there is. Yeah, I mean, when you look at some of these streaming services, you still see Netflix releasing Stranger Things, and people go out and buy it every year.
That's weird to me. Yeah.
But yeah, let's see here. So it is available on Blu-ray and it is available on DVD. It is not available on 4K Ultra HD, which is at this point, I feel like that's got
to be the standard at this point, right?
That's got to be the standard. I mean, but there's not. I mean, I don't know how many people are invested in 4K. I mean, unless you have an Xbox or a PlayStation, or you're
That's
a
true.
huge ridiculous movie buff like me and just decide, you know what, I'm going to go out and buy a $500 Panasonic 4K Blu-ray player because I'm a psychopath and most people aren't. Like, I get it. You know what I mean? So it's it's not I am. Well, no, it's something that I care about. So, but most people don't. Right. Most people don't. You're never gonna have somebody that's most people are just, they're going to say, oh, Netflix looks great anyway. You know what I mean? But you've seen it. You have a 4K player now. You understand there's differences in quality. It's,
yeah. And like,
I mean, you got the Harry Potter series on
No
4K.
Way Home.
You have No Way Home. You have Into the Spider-Verse, don't you?
Yep. I got the latest Ghostbusters film.
You have to go. Yeah. So guys, I'm going to say this right now. If you're saying, oh, whatever, it doesn't matter. You haven't experienced it yet. So just let you know. So I don't want to come off as a snoot. I'm coming off as a snoot. It's fine. I'll own it. But yeah, that's my Blu-ray tangent. But yeah, everything should be on 4K at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
Totally agree. Make them in limited editions. Like, there's a lot of companies that are putting out movies. They're bringing them out on 4K. They're like, we remastered this. We're going to make 2,000 copies. If you really like this, go out and get it, And that's what they should do, the big boxes, like, you really liked Winning Time. And by the time, if you have not seen Winning Time yet, you need to go ahead and watch it. It's phenomenal. Mm-hmm. We talk about it quite a bit. Oof.
Yeah, it is.
I'm really excited about the second season.
Me too. I'll probably get HBO Max back just for that.
Yes. Go ahead.
All right. So I wanted to end the show on this conversation because I thought it was a very fun question. Former member of the network, Kyle Brandon, sent this in a text message the other day. And he asked the question, Sean Mackey, this year coming up, would you rather win the NBA title or win the NBA draft lottery?
Well, if we're talking about the most coveted prospect since LeBron James, and it does sound like we are, and I know we called Zion the exact same thing a couple years ago, if I'm not mistaken,
And Ben Simmons.
and Ben Simmons. But this guy has unique tools. I mean, his arms are gigantic spider legs. He is an animal. He is 7 feet 3 inches tall, or 7'4".
7'4" before putting shoes on.
Very impressive. This year, I mean, here's the thing. It depends. It's actually a really great question. Now, the easy answer is you want to win the NBA title this year. It doesn't
Right.
matter if you have 20 years of bad fortune after it. If you get the NBA title, you got the NBA title. It's there. Toronto Raptors style. Do what you can to win. Got to do it now. Go for it.
2020 Lakers style.
2020 Lakers style. Exactly. But if you are running a franchise, like let's say that you are, a bum family like the Reinsdorfs, and you own a certain team and you don't do anything and you decide you're going to tank. Now, if you're looking for sheer profit and getting butts in the seat, like, maybe what a Reinsdorf would do, that might be, your prerogative to go ahead and tank out and say, you know what, let's go ahead and go for this guy. But it's so risky. It's so risky. And it's like you could, whoever's going to win this guy this next year, they're going to be the luckiest team of the last 10 years. But if I was saying this year, in a year that we've had, different NBA champions over the last couple of years, things have been kind of uneven, as I should say, because we're kind of coming out of a dynasty era. I would say that winning the NBA draft lottery is probably more important this year. And I literally will probably never say that again.
I tend to agree, and I didn't think I would.
Yeah.
But if you think about, you win the title, let's say the Hawks win the title this year. Let's say this is the year that everything just lines up and Trae Young, DeJounte Murray carry them to the promised land.
Sure.
That's great, but you're now set back and getting a good prospect because you're going to be picking in the late 20s or the 30th pick. And you're probably going to have players that want to come play with you for you next year to try to kind of build off this. So you're going to be really good again next year. And you just missed your shot at Victor Wembanyama, who could very well turn your franchise around very quickly. So yeah, I think, getting a chance to have Wembanyama, having him for a minimum of 5 years, on paper, so looks pretty awesome. One title for a year versus 5 years of Wembanyama at minimum. And if he does everything he's supposed to do, he will project. He'll be a multi-max player. He'll have multiple contracts. And it's the guy that a lot of people are saying, like, if LeBron was a prospect in high school right now, would you take Victor Wembanyama over him? And I hate to kind of echo what you're seeing a lot of. It's the body of Victor Wembanyama, as far as like how he's set up, reminds you a lot of Chet Holmgren, reminds you a lot of Joel Embiid, reminds you a lot of Sam Bowie. And when you saw LeBron in high school, you went, "Oh no, that's going to hold up. Like he's going to be fine. Like his body frame will be okay." That's not to say I think something will happen to Wembanyama, but there is that worry. And so but other than that, taking the chance and the risk that he's going to be your franchise player for a decade and a half, I think is worth every penny.
Yeah, and if we're looking at like just legacy standpoint, I feel like last couple of years in the NBA have been kind of up and down in terms of fan engagement. We had the crazy Cleveland Cavaliers, Golden State Warriors every year for 3 years happen, and then the Raptors win a title, the Lakers win a title, the Bucks win a title, and the Golden State Warriors somehow come from behind and get another one last year. But how memorable are those one-off titles going to be for Toronto? I mean, I know we already talk about it quite a bit, and it's not just at all, but the Lakers winning the title in the bubble, the Milwaukee Bucks, beating the Phoenix Suns. I mean, and not to say that the Milwaukee Bucks didn't have the best player in the NBA when they won, 2 years ago, and the Phoenix Suns weren't one of the best teams, and they ended up going out and beating them. But how much are we going to go back 10 years from now and look at that particular series and talk about like an actual legacy win like that? I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like if we're talking about right now where the NBA is kind of at a weird crossroads, I just feel like winning the draft lottery is better this year. And I hate myself for feeling that way. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I hate myself.
I mean, Greg Popovich will likely end his career coaching Victor Wembanyama, right? That's what's going to happen. I feel like it's just like that's destiny. That's the stars aligning.
It has to be. Yeah, there's no I mean, I don't know. I don't see him or in, I mean, there's no way the league's going to let him go to Utah. There's just no way.
Right.
That just doesn't happen. The league does not, it just doesn't, it's not how it works. And I'm sad. There's all these Utah fans that are probably out that way that are like, man, one fucking forgets about us, and it's like you just dumped your whole team. You do have the shrewdest businessman in the NBA running your organization right now. So I don't know, maybe he does, but that is the only way they will get more than 10 nationally televised games a year. That's the only way.
He's got to wear that stupid ass, just planned yellow jersey. It looks like a highlighter, like with that bland ass black and white logo. And
well, I remember
no one wants that.
I remember back in, I want to say it was 2005 or 2006. I remember I was at a wedding for a member of my family, and I was out in Illinois, and I was watching some Western Conference playoff action. I remember watching the Houston Rockets, who had Yao Ming and Tracy McGrady, play a Utah Jazz team that had Carlos Boozer and Deron Williams. And I just remember thinking how unremarkably boring that team was. And that is exactly how everyone has felt about the last 5 years with Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. And not to say that neither of those guys aren't great. They're great basketball players. But if you throw them in the purple, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just asking to just revel in mediocrity.
I agree.
If that makes sense. And I want to say this. I had a Utah Jazz jacket when I was a kid. I swear I did. I swear. Yeah, I got it at Value City. It was cheap. It was a starter jacket. I wore it, but I'm not gonna lie. I got made fun of in that jacket.
It happened.
It happened. It happened. So
we're not bullying people here. We don't agree with bullying at all. But you wore a Jazz jacket in the era of the Bulls. Like
I did. And this was like 1997. Like
Sean.
Mountains. Yeah.
You could only wear 3 teams at that time: the Bulls, the Magic, and
those
the Hornets. Yeah, the Bulls and the Hornets.
You're not wrong. And it's like, and not only that, it's like those fuckers were in 2 NBA championships and nobody still cared about them. So I'm like, hey guys, yeah, I'm just out there supporting, good teams. And everyone's like, Sean, why don't you go, I don't know, walk out into traffic in that thing. So.
Good Lord. Oh man.
It was a strict Bulls or Lakers or Magic, wherever Shaq was, streets on my thing. And I was always feuding with the kid down the street who followed Shaq wherever he went. So
yeah, who knows, man? That's pretty funny though. All right. Well, I think we could wrap up this week's episode of 48 Minutes Basketball Network. Thank you all for tuning in as always, whether it be here on the stream, on Twitter, YouTube, or Facebook, or you check out the podcast the next day. Please take a second to subscribe to our channel here if you are tuning along. It takes all of 2 seconds. Give us a nice solid 5-star review on your podcast subscriber of choice. And please, if you want to support the brand, 48minutesbasketballnetwork.merchmake.com. Get some gear. Goes a long way and helps us out a lot. So thank you, Sean. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Next week, the season actually matters, and we'll be here to talk about it. See you soon.